Good morning, everybody. Let's talk about the prophetic word again today. We're going to talk about a couple things this morning. The first thing is God corrects us as believers. That is absolutely true. God chastens those. Hebrews chapter 12 says God chastens those whom he loves. If he doesn't chasten you or correct you and I, then we are illegitimate. We're really not a part of his family. He's not. We don't really have a relationship with him. And the huge part of God correcting us is to get us to repent, not just cause things to happen in our life to stop us from sinning in the moment, but to stop doing that for good. He corrects us in such a way that we remember that we can't get away from it. We can't get away with it, and we stop being that way. And at the same time, we're realizing that our loving Father is loving us. We have His Spirit in us, and so that Spirit in us is interpreting what it means when God corrects us. So it causes us to have a godly sorrow. So we turn away from those sin and walk with God. God does do that without a shadow of a doubt. But we need to know the difference, and you and I today in this message need to know the difference between direction and correction. God is not always correcting us. My sheep hear my voice, I know them, and they follow me. There is direction. And we would like to think that most of the time it's direction. Let me give you two examples, two extreme examples, one from the Old Testament and one from the New Testament. The Old Testament, I will go bold to say that Job was not corrected by God, but he was directed. It was a part of God's direction in Job's life for him to experience everything he experienced. You would think because his friends thought he was doing something wrong, right? But he did nothing wrong. He was a righteous man. God even said to Satan, "Behold, have you considered my servant Job, my righteous servant Job?" He considered him righteous. So the experience that Job was having, and many experiences that you're having of great loss and limited ability in your life, may very well be God's direction to you, not correction. Another example, that is a really extreme example from the Old Testament. Okay, the other example is the New Testament. Remember when Jesus told the disciples to get in a boat and go to the other side of the Sea of Galilee? Well, we know the story. You get in a boat, and all of a sudden there's this huge storm. And they're rowing for hours. They're completely exhausted for hours and hours and hours. Were they being corrected? Because they did what God told them to do, but a storm came. And they began to react to the storm, but they were still rowing. And then Jesus walks across the water, and you know the story. Peter walks out on the water, and he sinks, and Jesus said, "Oh, you of little faith." He wasn't correcting them. He was directing them. You got to know the difference, guys. Know the difference in your life that some extreme things can happen to you and I and still be only the direction of God in our lives. Remember that today. God bless you. Have a great day.